in your shades and glasses. Nice job, guys. What do you think? Seaside Band, playing it up, shaking it up, all sorts of different things. That is Bob Mathis on the horns, and that is Max on Busendorfer, Harley on the bass, and Jerry on those drums. Nice job, guys.
Woo. All right, so welcome to Seaside, a spiritual nexus inspiring us to live our dreams. And we just knew the sun and the light shine so bright within our sanctuary that you needed some sunglasses. Maybe when we sing our congregational song, I'll have us all put it on, but nice job with the Blues Brothers. Very good. I like that. So as you know, we are in the midst of our wonderful prosperity program here. It's a 6-week journey in journeying out to the sea that has those infinite treasures that are awaiting us. And so we have got this sea theme going on. And so as we begin to delve deeper into the prosperity principles over the next 6 weeks, I am trusting you are creating the greater good in your life, right? 3 of you, 4 of you. This isn't going to really... hey, Nancy, good to see you here. We've missed you around here. Anyway, you know what? One of the fun things we've been doing in this program is sharing with you fun little gifts, which are like the glasses and the gold coins and all sorts of... the chapstick. So if you didn't get any chapstick last week, pick some up on the way out there in the baskets. But one of the fun things we're doing is people have been sharing, hey, I love my seaside. And Steve Dahl got some clips last week, or the first couple weeks, about how people love their seaside. So Marv, if you've got that, let's roll with it.
You got to sing it. Come together. We're not ready.
We're practicing.
Come together right now. No. Come together at Seaside right now.
Come together
at Seaside right now.
Oh, okay, let me do it again. Come together
at Seaside right now.
Wait.
You ready?
Okay.
You ready? Here we go.
Okay, don't look. Live.
1, 2, 3. Come together at Seaside right now.
Can we do this again? It's terrible. Do it again.
I love the people, and I love the community, and I love the message, and I love the feel, and I love the energy, and I love the music, and I love the classes.
I love everything.
I do. It's an amazing, amazing community, and I'm so happy that I found it.
Love my Seaside. Love the Seaside Band, too. They're awesome.
I love my Seaside. I've been coming here for years, and it's really helped my consciousness grow. And I love Dr. Christian, very dynamic and always fabulous. And it's just a great community. I love it here.
I couldn't see not being a part of this in my life. It's just so much a part of my life.
We love
Seaside.
Why do you love Seaside so much?
Because of the people.
Because of community. Because of Christian. Reverend Christian.
Excellent. All right, now let's sing the new jingle, Love My Seaside. Ready? Go.
I don't know it.
All right, here it is. Love my seaside. Okay, you can do better than that, couldn't you?
Okay, I'll make it up.
You make it up. Make a good one.
All right. Love my seaside.
You guys are stars. Woo! Well, I got to tell you, there's a lot of love going on at Seaside, but something that there's a lot of going on here is spirit. We continue to put spirit first always, and we have a wonderful spiritual practitioner here today to hold the light. Practitioner for 20 years here at Seaside, Kathleen Lees, has just been a radiant. Look, it's so radiant. She has got her Seaside shades on because the light shines bright from our spiritual support center. And, you know, if you're here for the first time, we don't always hand out sunglasses. So just know you showed up on a special day. And wherever you may be on your spiritual path, know that you're welcome here, that your presence here today makes a difference for the manner in which Seaside is going to unfold in the morning. And one of the things that we love doing here at Seaside is just standing up and greeting each other. So I want to invite you to stand up, face your neighbor, say how much you love them, love your Seaside, and then we'll put on our sunglasses and sing our song.
morning, Seaside. Please remain standing and put on your glasses for the congregational song. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, joy gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, love gives me everything I need. Come on, Bob. Power, peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. God gives me everything I need. Yes,
he does. That's Whitney. My goodness, man. That's one of those classic Seaside moments. If you can look out and see what I'm seeing, it's pretty fun. Hey, we want to make sure you are equipped when you're paddling out. We gave you the chapstick. We've given you the glasses. We are preparing you to enjoy the elements of our wonderful beach town for sure. So, my goodness, it is a blessed day. We believe in having fun with Spirit in the presence of God. We're in a surf town, so we might as well be doing this beach theme. And we've got 6 weeks of taking those spiritual principles to a deeper lesson. I want to encourage you, we've got Sacred Circles. That's just an hour and 15 minutes during the week at a home near you, or if you can't even get out, you can go online with Kat on Wednesdays. Catherine Spades is offering it online. And it takes the Sunday message to a deeper level. There's no cost. It's just a gift to you that our practitioners created. So we're continuously finding ways to give to you, to love you, to deepen your spiritual experience so you may prosper in your life. Are you up for that? Good. Okay, well, then to assist us with that, to go to even deeper is more prayer. We have a wonderful practitioner here at Seaside who's standing on the stage or sitting on the stage, about to be standing, and this is Denise Harmon. Take us there.
Hello, everyone. Morning. Okay. You know what time it is. What time is it? Going deeper? Let's close those beautiful eyes and go into the stillness. Being present right here, right now. Opening to that knowingness, to that Godness, knowing God is present in this sanctuary, within us, within all. Knowing that God is that power, that presence, that divine perspective. Knowing that God is abundance and clarity and alignment and focus. knowing that God is all around through and as me, right here, right now, knowing within every cell, within every function, within me, knowing that. As I know this for myself, I know this for each one present here and watching live streaming. Knowing that God is present and opening this sanctuary, opening the frequencies, opening the heartfelt, opening the core of each one here. Knowing that Dr. Reverend's Christian Sorensen is in that same place, is in that place of Godness, is in that place of alignment, of certainty, of calmness, of that divine acceleration and that divine empowering word. Knowing that he speaks to the heart, heart to heart, spirit to spirit within each one, and bringing to them that clarity, that abundance, knowing that abundance within, knowing how it speaks to them individually. And I know that each one here, I claim for each one here that you guys are in that space. You guys are in that space of abundance, in that space of allowing and surrendering right here, right now, opening to this sacred time, sacred space here at Seaside.
God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He is so good to me. God is so good. God is so good. God is so good. He is so good to me.
That's beautiful, Whitney. Thank you. I love your colors today. You fit under the sea so perfectly. What a great sea scheme going on there. And that's nice. Max, thank you for helping out on the piano. And Denise, it was beautiful, for sure. And I saw John walking. John, just thank you for the wonderful golf tournament, the wonderful party, the adventure, the food, the night of dinner and dance. $9,000 you helped raise for Seaside, and thank you everyone for your generosity on that night. It was very, very helpful for our sound department as well as Seaside, for sure. And speaking of helpful for Seaside, I'm standing up here at this moment because I'm very excited to officially welcome to you our newest minister. We've known her as Rev, but the truth is Kim Jera actually didn't get to take her oral exams until this week. She took her oral exams, she has passed them all, and she is now officially Reverend Kim Jera Weddington of the Seaside Center for Spiritual Living. Woo! We're so proud of you.
Thank you. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, from start to finish, when you just start with like your foundations class all the way through, it's more than 7 years. Isn't that crazy? I know. So I am prayed up and ready and excited to be here, and thank you so much. So as I said, my name is Reverend Kim Jera, and I wanted to just real quickly welcome anybody who might be new here for the very first time. If you've never been to Seaside before, we are so blessed to have you sitting here with us. This is a wonderful, beautiful community where we like to come together as like-minded individuals, and we get to celebrate each other's grace and love and divinity and lift each other up to be and live and have that beautiful life that we've always wanted. That's kind of the idea here. So if this place resonates with you, we would love for you to say hello. We have a new member welcome table. In there you can get a CD of a previous talk from Rev.Dr. Christian. You can also have a little card in there that you can fill out, and you can provide us a little bit of information, your email, and a little bit of info. And what that does is it puts you on our mailing list so that you get to get emails to your inbox that tell you all kinds of wonderful things that are happening. Plus, you get Reverend Christian's daily inspiration. I look forward to that every day. And so with that, I am actually going to be giving you a testimonial today. So when Reverend Christian said that they were going to do Testimonial Sunday, I'm like, I have one. I have lots of those. And this story just really stems from my time back in 2008 to 2010. We were living in Temecula, and we actually made a choice to move to the Bay Area for a new position that I was taking with a company. And during that process, we had been probably 5 years or so, been buying real estate. And so we bought 5 different homes in Texas, and we had an apartment building out there. So things were going really well, and everything was rented, things were wonderful. And then 2008 hit. Yeah, I heard some chuckles out there. You guys all familiar with, yeah. So during that time, we hit a point where we needed to refi everything. We did one of those short-term loans where we were like, oh, no problem, in 5 years, we'll just refi it into a new interest rate. And we couldn't. It was one of those opportunities in life where you get to stand up and really sit in spirit and say, what the heck do I believe? And if I truly, truly believe that there is a higher presence that is the essence of my life, then I've got to dig deep right now. And so we made a decision as a family. It was the hardest decision that we'd ever made in our lives, that the only way out of this was to give the banks $1 million, because literally all 5 homes added up to $1 million, or to file bankruptcy. Now, I know a lot of people get up on this stage and they don't like to talk about these types of stories, right? We don't like to share the struggles and the things that we go through in life. But what I learned through this process, being raised in this teaching, being raised in the science of mind, and understanding the principles of God in action through me as me, that I went deep and I said to myself, what things do I need to do right now if I'm going to make this decision? And number 1 was I needed to trust Spirit. I needed to trust that something greater than me had me. Number 2 was that I needed to continue tithing. And at that time, I was still tithing to my spiritual community, even though we had moved. And I made, and that, it's kind of ironic, we're in pledge time right now, but I had made a pledge. And so I knew I needed to continue tithing no matter what was going on, because that was the universal flow of abundance that was happening. And number 3 for me was that that if I went into meditation and prayer, that everything was going to ultimately work itself out, and that I didn't have to know the how or the why. That's a big one. It's a big one, because we always want to know, right? We want to have the plan, and I'm one of those people. I like to have the plan, but I didn't have a plan at that point. So what ended up happening was we went ahead and made that decision, and it was honestly the most freeing decision that I ever made in my entire life, because all of the pressure and the stress of everything instantly dissipated the moment we said that we were going to do that. And my biggest fear was, how am I going to buy a home? Okay, we've made this decision, but now what am I going to do? And you know, it usually takes 7 years. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't, because when you live in that present moment and you are following the path of God within, things show up that you could never have imagined. So that's the power of this teaching. And so what happened for us was, all of a sudden, family members showed up and literally called up out of, within a week, and said, we've got $40,000 to give you. We've got $30,000 to give you. And different parts of the family started showing up. And then we had saved 60 or 70 grand. And by the time everything was said and done, we had enough to do a very specific type of a loan where we could put a huge down payment down, and we were basically able to own our own home within a year. Wow, right? I like that, yeah. So that's the power of this teaching. That's the power of what we're learning here. That's the power of when we're stepping into who and what we really are, and we're living from that place that we can create the life that we want. We don't have to know the how or the why. We trust in Spirit to take care of us. And so with that, let's go within. Oh, just sitting in that place of divine glory, that love, that joy, that infinite intelligence that is the backing of all possibility. For this is the very presence that we call God, that we call spirit, universe, energy, flow. I know that this divine presence is right here, right now, in this moment, as me and as each and every person that is in this space today, and for all of those that are listening in online. For I know that there is only one grace, there is only one presence that is right here, that loving light that is showing up. And so I claim in this moment that this service is beautiful and good, that Rev.Dr. Christian's message is filled with wisdom and clarity and joyful praise for who we are and what we have come here to show the world. I know right now that every one of us have been called to this space today to hear something, to hear that little bit of inspiration, that wisdom, that truth that they already know, but it's just going to be that much clearer. And so I just sit in the magnitude of the love of this energy, knowing that the musicians are just vibrantly touching our soul with their powerful voices, and that we as a community get to love and lift and support one another always. And so with this, I just release these words with the utmost of gratitude for this teaching, for these principles, for each other, for this tribe, this community that we call Seaside. And I release these words into the action of the law, for I know that God already has it, and it is being manifested as we speak. And so it is.
Good morning, Seaside. So I'm always pleased to be here with you, filling in for our beautiful friend, Miss Rebecca Jade, whose birthday was just this last Friday. So when you see her next week, give her a big squeeze. But it's my pleasure to introduce our friend, you know her very well, Miss Angel Travis. She's got a brand new album out, and she has a Christmas album that she also brought for sale. So please visit her and enjoy.
Hello, Seaside family. Well. Okay. You ready? Okay.
I'll tell you what is on my mind. I just stop the talking, the wasting of all of our time. The story brought you here, and you're alright. And you got love for those who believe you can fly and change. When it is hard, when you're scared, you push right on through your fears, and you change. Oh, you got to change. Yeah. So when you walk asleep, well, anything goes. You wanna let it go, let the drama go. You wanna take back your life, receive prosperity, open the door. You wanna be in the light, let it go and change. When it is hard, when you're scared, you push right on through your fears, and you change. Push right on through what's not the truth. Believe in yourself, and now you can change. Oh, here we go, Bob. be the light, open up, prosperity, be the love, be the light, be the love, be the light, be the love, be the love. Open up, get you good. Receive, receive. Oh, oh, oh. You can
This is Angel Travis being that change. Oh my goodness. You have changed and just evolved in front of our eyes. Be the change, open up, receive the good, the love, be the light. I like it, I like it. Woo. That is the perfect song for this wonderful adventure that we are on in the treasures of the sea. I mean, the first week we talked about really the importance of recognizing there's a sea of infinite possibilities. Like the infinite has untold treasures, but it begins by recognizing that there's some treasure out there that is waiting for you. It was Thornton Wilder, American essayist, won 3 Pulitzer Prizes, our town. It said that we are most alive in the moment our hearts are conscious of the treasures. Here he is talking about being conscious, our heart being conscious of the treasures. That's when we're most alive, is I'm living in a sea of treasures, infinite potential, and it's waiting for me to discover. And so the next week and last week was what Angel's song was all about, that change, open up to receive the good, be the light, that it was so perfect, because you got to change. You know how amazing it is to think that I want change, but I don't want to change. That's kind of silly. But seriously, I hear people time and time again, they want to change, but they don't want to give up their position. You've got to have the consciousness, the mental equivalent for it to show up in your life. And so for a change to happen, you're the one who's got to change. You got to begin to be in that place to be receptive at a new level. I saw a poster of a tramp leaning against a Rolls Royce, and the caption was, "I'd give $10 to be one of them millionaires." And that's the thing. Yeah, it's worth $10 for $1 million. I don't think so. You need to have that $1 million consciousness. I was interesting this last week. People are playing the lotto for $1.5 billion, and I said, "You going to tithe?" They say, "Absolutely, we're going to tithe." I win and get a tithe, and I ask, "How much is 10% of that?" I'm not going to ask you, but it's interesting how many people thought maybe 10 million, 10 and a half. You're missing some zeros there. If you're playing in a bigger house, you've got to know the dimensions you're playing in, because in spirit, it's all in the house. It's all in the ocean. The infinite is there. And so it begins by recognizing, there's greater good waiting for me. And I've got to venture out into the sea, but I got to be willing to change my consciousness. I got to be willing to morph into a place of greater receptivity, of greater good. And so, but the key then is, and that's what today is about. All this has been the lead up to this moment. And that is, you got to paddle out. We're Surftown, USA here, right? Encinitas? Yeah, hey, good to see you. And so, with paddling out, you got to leave the shore. You can sit there, you can look at the waves. Yeah, they're breaking right, left, looking good. But you still have to paddle out. You can't just sit on the shore thinking about how cool it would be dropping into one of those monsters that are out there. You've got to be willing to leave. You can sit there and plan all you want, and that's one of the challenges. I mean, I'm all for planning. Planning is a good thing. You got a vision, you got a plan. But I've watched people just sit there and plan and plan and plan and forget to paddle out. I have watched people, I'm going to plan to get this job, and a year later, they're still planning to get a particular job. You got to take the action. You get that? Good. God, I mean, that's what I'm working at towards today. You got to be, I like what Jonathan Winter said. He said, if your ship doesn't come in, swim out to meet it, right? If it's not there, you got to go out and meet it. You've got to take the action if you want satisfaction. Oh, I like that. Could be a bumper sticker. You got to take the action if you want satisfaction. The last 6 letters of the word satisfaction? Was it action? A-C-T-I-O-N. That's where the action is. But what do people do? They wait. Right? Okay, I plan. Now I'm going to wait for the tide to change. I'm going to wait for the weather to change. I'm going to wait for that right person to show up. I'm going to wait for the astrological planets to line up. Mercury aligns with Mars and the planet, the song. They're going to wait for that right moment. Going to wait for the inspiration. Going to wait until there's no more pain. Going to wait. We just continue to wait and wait and wait and wait and wait. You got to paddle out if you want to ride the waves of life. So, this is not a new philosophy. We got it as kids, and I've got proof. Dr. Seuss's, the places we would go. You remember that one? This book has become a gift you see in Barnes & Noble during the graduation season. They give this to adults now. And there's a great page in here that talks about the waiting place. Remember that one? The waiting place. For people are just waiting. They're waiting for a train to go, or a bus to come, or a plane to go, or the mail to come, or the rain to go, or the phone to ring, or the snow to snow, or waiting around for a yes or a no, or waiting for their hair to grow. Everyone is just waiting. Waiting for the fish to bite, or waiting for the wind to fly a kite, or waiting around for a Friday night, or waiting perhaps for their Uncle Jake, or a pot to boil, or a better break, or a string of pearls, or a pair of pants, or a wig with curls, or another chance. Everyone is just waiting. No! That's not for you. Somehow you'll escape all that waiting and staying, and you'll find the bright places where the boom bands are playing. There you go. Boom bands for us all. You got to stop sitting on the shore. You got to get out there. You got to paddle out into the water. You got to get in the water. You got to get in the game. You got to get on the field. You got to get into action. You got to get into that business plan. You got to get it off the paper and the planning and the waiting game and get going with it in your life. Clement Stone's one of the great philanthropists of our era. Made his zillions in insurance in those earlier days, motivational inspirer of business or businesses around the world. Anyway, he used to give out a lapel pin that said, "Do it now." Stop waiting, paddle out, get going, do it now. Ray Kroc, one of our local guys until he wasn't. I'm sorry, bless your heart. I'm sorry. Anyway, he said 3 of the keys to success is 1, being in the right place at the right time. 2, knowing that you're in the right place at the right time, which is kind of our first point to prosperity here, is recognizing there's this infinite abundance that's there. And 3, taking action. You got that? Taking action. They're all saying, all of the masterful manifestors say, you got to get moving. You got to have the action. If you want satisfaction, you got to have the action. You got to paddle out there, get into the waves. You got to listen to those urges inside your soul and honor those. Ray Bradbury said, if you want to experience the success of a risk, you jump off a cliff and you build your wings underneath you as you're going down. Jump off the cliff, take that risk, jump off the cliff, and you build the wings on your way down, is what he said. But the interesting thing, there's a lot of interesting things about him, but he shared from a story you can find in a book. It was called The Art and the Zen of Writing. He tells the story of when he was living in an apartment at $30 a month. And one day he was just inspired to take a walk out on the beach, and he walked out on the beach and he saw a pile of, wood and stuff. It kind of looked like bones of a dinosaur. And that night when he was in bed, all of a sudden he was inspired to jump out of bed and write a story about the dinosaurs that roamed. And he sold it to, not the New Yorker, there was a Saturday Evening Post, and they ran his story. And there was this producer, director, writer, John Huston, right? And he was trying to get a script put together on this book, a good book, boring to read, but excellent, called Moby Dick. And so he hired Ray Bradbury to help him write the screenplay for Moby Dick, which then went on to be a huge success. And the New York World's Fair in 1964, got wind of Ray Bradbury because of that, and they asked him to help create the design for the upper pavilion of the Federal Building that was there, which caught Disney's attention. And Disney then went ahead and had him design Spaceship Earth, which was the whole theme around Epcot Center. All because, you get this? Rather than sitting home and watching Netflix or whatever it is of his day, or Twilight Zone, or whatever it is of his day, he got up and took a walk on the beach because he felt like taking a walk on the beach. And then when he was awakened from his bed, he didn't say, oh man, I'm gonna not get up. I need my rest. I'm gonna do yoga in the morning. It's like, no, he was moved and he got up, and because he wrote something that happened to be picked up by a magazine that then happened to get him a screenplay that happened to get him into the World's Fair, which happened to get him Epcot, it's like any one of those you can stop. But the important point here is sometimes you just got to get going. You got to get paddling out. Sometimes you're sitting on the shore and it's a big day and you just don't see the channel out there. And you're going to take a few of them on the head. But you know what? You've got to get going. You've got to start paddling out. And you may not know when that opening is going to be or where it is it's going to happen. But you keep going. It seems like you're getting nowhere. You're getting nowhere. I assure you, it seems like you're getting nowhere. And boom, all of a sudden, you're out there. And it's like, how did that happen? It's just you were in that place where all of a sudden there was an opening and you were available to that. But if you're busy on the shore planning, looking for the channel, waiting for the tide to change, you know that story. I just went through it. There was a baby camel sitting with his mom underneath the tree and said, Mom, why do we got these humps on our back? And she said, well, honey, we're desert animals, and they're so you can have water, and we'll go through the desert and not, you can last sometime. Wow, that's cool, Mom. Why do we have such long legs and these big round hoofs, feet? She says, well, it's for walking in desert sand. You're more mobile, you can work, you don't sink. It's better that way. I said, oh, and our eyelashes? Why are these eyelashes? So they're just always getting in the way. She said, well, that helps you to keep the blowing desert sands out of your eyes. And he said, I get it. The humps are so I can have water in the desert, and the legs are for walking in the desert sand, and the eyelashes keep, the desert out of my eyes. But Mom, why do we live in a zoo? Yeah. It's like, your equipment doesn't do you any good unless you're in the action. The gifts that you have been given aren't doing you any good unless you're in the game or you're in the water or you're out there doing it with that which you have been given to do this world with. You can sit on the sidelines, you can sit in the bleachers, or you can get up and get in the game. The choice is yours, and how you choose to navigate these ever-changing times is what determines whether you're going to be living in joy or whether you're going to be living in misery. It determines what it is that is there for you. It's you gotta that change. That was last week's, but it's like when an era ends, and you're moving in because you have chosen to go. You may not fully know what it looks like, but you have to let go. When you were in high school and then you're in college, that's the end of an era, guys. There's no going back. You're done. How are you adjusting with that? Or maybe you were single and now you're married. Or maybe you're married and now you're single. Or maybe you were without kids and all of a sudden you got children. Or maybe you got children and all of a sudden now you don't. The house is empty. It's like these are the end of an era, the beginning of a new era. Are you able to trust that something inside of you that knows what the next step is and what it is? The good that you're creating, the magic and the wonder, the success. Because great part of happiness is creating what you love and sharing that. See, that's one of the keys here. What is your gift? What is it? You're not meant to sit under the tree in a zoo. You are meant to be able to bring this gift to humanity, to share your blessings, to share that which has blessed you and graced you. That is returning back to Spirit the gifts that have blessed you. His Holiness the Dalai Lama said your happiness isn't pre-made. It isn't self-made. It comes from action. Your happiness doesn't pre-made. It doesn't just give it to you. Okay, you're happy now. It comes from the satisfaction that comes from the action that you have taken to create the greater good in your life. And that comes from listening. Say, you know what? This is an infancy with untold treasures. I realize I've got to change here, and I'm going to paddle out. I'm not quite sure exactly where it's going to lead, or I know I'm going in that direction. I got a vision, but I know I need to get moving here with that. I'm listening to something in my soul. You ever listen to that something of your soul? Well, foundation class starts in January. Well, it'll teach you how to listen to that soul, that spirit. Someone once, asked me, do I know what an artist and a musician have in common with the mystic? And it was that they are well aware and able to express without the tongue, that they're able to feel and sense that soul, and able to communicate without using the tongue or the language or the spirit. Because spirit speaks, but not always in words. I remember when I had the church in Hawaii, and I had a member of the congregation. His name was Clyde Ikau. He owned the beach business of Waikiki, so if you needed surfboards or boats or anything like that, or suntan lotion, his company would take care of that. His brother was a guy by the name of Eddie Ikau, who was the first lifeguard at Waimea over on the north shore of Oahu. And that's where you get those huge, enormous waves that come in a couple times a year that you see in the picture and go, wow. And they actually created a contest named Eddie, called the Eddie. And I remember Clyde, the first year was out, he gave me a bumper sticker that said, Eddie would go. Well, the thing about Eddie is that he was a Hawaiian. He was just full on that expression, and he loved the water. He was known as a waterman. And they were trying to reenact the journey of the Polynesians to the Hawaiian Islands and the Hawaiian Islands back to Polynesia on these rafts, these reed rafts. And so they wanted to get some local natives that were there to do this, and they picked Eddie because he was a waterman. Nobody swam the big waves and the waters and the currents better than Eddie. And they were waiting to catch the current. You have to catch the current and the tide and the time the year was running out. And so they pushed out on like one of the last days they could catch the current into back into Polynesia. And there was a storm, and they just got a little past Molokai, and their raft was flipped over, and everybody aboard the ship was hanging on for dear life. And the Halakali, it was the name of it, the Holocalia. And they were holding on, and the people, hypothermia was starting to set in. They were thinking that was about the end of it. And Eddie said, you know what, I will paddle in with a surfboard and go get help, because, we're so many miles offshore. And what's interesting is the captain of that ship said he didn't think the crew was going to make it, but Eddie would make it for sure. Eddie was gone 20 minutes, a half hour, when the helicopters came by and spotted the ship upside down, and they were discovered. And Eddie was never seen again. He was gone. And so what Clyde shared with me is they never found Eddie's body. They never found the surfboard. He was just gone. And so the insurance company wanted to settle things, and on the year anniversary of Eddie's disappearance, Mom said, let's go down to Waimea. And they come from the lineage of the kahunas that served King Kamehameha. And so they brought in family, and Clyde was saying they were down there, and they lit the bonfire in late afternoon. And as the sun began to set, a dead whale's carcass rolled on into the bay and onto the shore. And they sat by the bonfire all night praying and praying and praying. And as the sun came up, the tide came back in, and it pulled that whale back out to sea. And Mom said, that's my sign. My son's gone from this world. And I share that story because I was saying there's a language that's not in words. But there was a feeling there. There was a knowledge by the family and everyone that was present. That was Eddie's communication, that my time in this world is complete. Waterman, they're going to name a surf contest after me. Say I'm gone, But, it's not like a heavy thing or it's a bad thing. But what happens sometimes in our life when things go awry and we begin to label it as bad, how we navigate, as I was saying, decides whether it is joy or whether it is terror or horror. And a lot of times we will fail and we will stumble, but I will tell you, masterful manifestors never consider a failure, but rather it is information. And those masterful manifestors will tell you all the times that things didn't quite work out as they intended them to do that first time. Kim Jarrett didn't share with you that when she first came to Seaside, she went down and bought herself a condo down on the beach here in Encinitas. You know, you learn from your first time through on how things work and how they don't work. And what's important is that we don't allow the fear of failure to stop us, because what I have noticed is those masterful manifestors, they feel the fear. But they don't allow the fear to stop them. They invite the fear to come along for this ride. We're paddling out, and you can come along because you're not going to stop me. And what will happen is this world will continue to try to get us to be stopped, but we only come this way once. We get this body one shot. And, you get to decide, am I going to navigate through this world and tiptoe and try to get to death without too many bruises? Or am I going to go all out? Am I going to go out and try to catch those big waves? Am I going to paddle out when I've got a little trepidation inside of me? Am I going to go for that vision, that fear? I may not know where the port is, but Polynesia's west. And I'm going, and I'm catching these currents, and I'm going with it, and I don't know what's going to happen. But what happened is not a failure. If anything, it would be failing forward. It would be gaining information. It would be gaining insight. And what this world will try to do is get you to think that this is not a good thing, but you've got to realize it's okay. I remember when I was learning to surf, my dad and mom got me my first surfboard at 11. I started kind of late, but I still remember Trancas Beach, going down there, going out in the water, my dad pushing me. Now, I got to tell you, when I was out in that water, those waves looked a lot bigger than I'm sure they were. But a little kid on a surfboard for the first time, it's like I'm looking back at my mom on the beach and my dad, but I didn't say, hey, I think I need a little bit more therapy here before I attempt this. I don't need to wait a little bit longer. Wait for the waves to get smaller, wait to get more confidence, and wait to have more I'm going for it. And I tell you what, you could call that failure, that first drive. I still remember this longboard going nose first into the water, flying who knows where, swimming back up to the top for dear life. It was probably only a few inches of water, but it seemed like it was the depth of the Marianas Trench. But you know what? There was exhilaration, there was life, there was thrill, there was let me back at it again, God. And in our life, we may have failed and things may not have worked out, but it's how we choose to navigate, whether it's with joy or with trepidation. It's totally up to us. And it's true in our life, and it's true within the larger picture. It's also true within our nation. I mean, yesterday, just a horrendous, heinous act of murder again in our country. And I've noticed my colleagues, the ministers, listserv, nobody even was writing anymore. I mean, a year or two ago, they said, we're getting exhausted responding to the spiritual stuff. But what I recognize is that, you know what? I've got to believe that what is going on cannot rob me of holding on to the position that, you know what, there is a greater good that is merging in our country, and what is coming to the surface has been lurking there, didn't just happen, and that I don't know how long we've got to go down this road of unrest, or how many lives have to be lost, or how many people need to be killed before it is realized you cannot create the future imagined by taking lives. That, the hatred, you can't have hatred create greater happiness. You cannot have oppression creating a greater sense of security. You cannot have evil acts creating a sense of holiness, no matter what a fanatic may be saying or thinking. There is something that needs to be cleaned up that is going on. And the Talmud, there is a line from the Talmud that says, "Do not be daunted by the enormity of the world's grief. Do justly now. Love mercy now. Walk humbly now. You're not obliged to complete this work, but neither are you free to abandon it." There was a story of a guy who was on the outside of a city. This was before Abraham was. And this city was known for its wildness, and he came there and sat outside the city to change their ways. And after months and years, the city wasn't going to change. And the delegation came out and said, "What are you doing? Nobody's going to change. What are you still doing here?" And he said, I get it. They're not going to change, but I refuse to let them change me. There was a sense of, you know what? There's some work that needs to be done. You know, we plant seeds for the future. You know, we water those seedlings that are coming up, recognizing that they're to carry something to a place that we'll never see. But we have a faith in the future. We build a foundation that we don't yet fully develop. It needs to be taken care of later on down the road. But there's something that I can do now. There's a yeast that I can add to the global emerging consciousness of peace and love for our brothers and sisters in this world. And I'm not going to allow the atrocities that are going on to make me think that, you know what, that God is not omnipresent. That right in the midst there somewhere, I have got to choose love over hatred. I've got to realize it's not through oppression or killing that we are going to move into that future that we imagine. And here is a couple lines that came from a rabbi up in L.A., Rabbi Mark Borovitz. And he said, our hearts, this came out last night, our hearts and prayers are with our brothers and sisters in Pittsburgh. As Jews, we are filled with hope and promise. And today's tragedy, the worst in our history in America, has to be responded to with hope, change, and justice. Tomorrow, which is today, we're going to do a vigil at 6 o'clock at the Federal Building on Wilshire in L.A. And we have to keep faith and participate in our democracy. Send love and hashtag stand with Pittsburgh. We Jews have been subject to anti-Semitism for thousands of years. And our response has been and must continue to be resilience, living our principles, and standing up to hatred with strength and faith. This is not a time to hate. This is not a time to participate in and with any groups or people that want to spread hate and negativity. This is a time to change the conversation to what can be done to the future and our principles of hope, love, and truth, justice, compassion, and kindness. Never make an excuse that affirms your powerlessness. Don't make an excuse. It is the times. Never make an excuse that affirms you're powerless. You've got to hold the faith. Faith is what we do between the miracles. Faith is when you're paddling out and the channel hasn't opened up and you're taking them on the head, but there's something inside of you that knows there's some waves for you to ride in life. And people are going to sit there in their judgment. People are going to sit there and jump on a bandwagon that doesn't produce the love and that future of brothers and sisters around this planet, that recognizes the equality and the diversity of all cultures and people everywhere. And there's going to be people wanting to put in their ideas that think, maybe you need to look at it like this. There's this dad who was on a train with his 24-year-old son, and the train was starting to pick up some speed and moving along, and the 24-year-old son jumped up with excitement, looked out the window very loudly. He said, "Look, the trees are going behind us, Dad." And the dad looked at him, and behind him there was this younger couple, and they were like kind of, why, this kid's pretty loud, it's kind of immature, you could starting to like take pity on this old man. And then the kid said, "Hey, Dad, look at the clouds are running with us on the train, running along." And the couple behind him finally said, "Sir, I think you may want to take your son to a good doctor." And the man said, "Well, that's just what we did. He's coming back from a good doctor. He was born blind, and he just got some eyes. And this is the first time he's been on his way home." Let's not jump to judgment by saying, this is bad, this is horrible, this is how I think it needs to be fixed. Because there is a higher intelligence that is operating here. This is that infinite sea that has untold treasures that we are talking about here. But something in me needs to shift, or change to be available for a new God-given answer that hasn't shown up yet. If I keep doing the same thing I've been doing and expect different results, what's the saying? Crazy, right? It's like opening up the refrigerator, taking out the bottle of milk, taking a swig, and sour, you put it back. And thinking it might be better next time. It's like it doesn't work like that. You've got to realize, okay, I'm open for change. This is the vision, the direction. This is where I'm going and heading, and I'm paddling out that way, and I'm not quite sure how I'm going to get to that destined port, but I know there's something inside of me that knows how to get it, and I'm going to listen to that. I'm going to move in alignment with that. I'm going to just trust, and I'm going to choose my navigational instruments of joy and love in the face of anything that comes my way. I mean, there's a master walking down the street. I think he was heading home or something, is catching a ride. And he was walking, and this one guy comes rushing out of a building and smacks right into this guy. And then the guy goes berserk. He gets upset. He rages. And this master teacher just kind of bows and said, I don't know who's responsible for this encounter. And I'm not inclined to take the energy for us to investigate. But if it's me, please pardon my mistake. And if it's you, don't matter. Don't worry. And he bowed and walked away. It's like, well, that neutralizes things right away. Same experience, two different navigational tools going on there. You're paddling out. Are you going out with fear? Or are you going out with joy? Are you going out with trust and bold? Or are you going out with trepidation and a sense of hesitancy? The choice is yours. And so this teacher, he gets into the car with one of his students who's giving him the ride home. And, this teacher's not necessarily big on politeness, but, he's graceful, he's courteous and all that. And the student just, riding down the road out the window of this traffic officer, he kind of yells at him. And after he yells at the traffic officer, he kind of excuses himself and says, I'm not really big on this politeness thing. I believe people should know where I stand and what I feel. Politeness is like a bunch of hot air. And the teacher said, yeah, I can see why you say that. But you do realize that's what's inside the tires of this car. And it makes those bumps a lot easier. It's like, okay. So the kid drops him off. He just says, so how do I find a worthy master to teach me when I get back to my country? He said, everywhere. Everything will teach you if you pay attention. The birds, the leaves, a smile, a tear. See, that's the treasure. We're in this infinite sea. And what separates the masterful manifestors from those that are sitting on the shore telling us how we should be catching the waves are they're the ones who take action. They're the ones who find the satisfaction with their actions. And if it doesn't turn out like they thought, well, that is about failing forward, leaning into it, being willing to navigate through this tumultuous time, realizing there is an opening and there is a way through to the vision that you have been given, because with Spirit, all things are possible, and whatever is needed to bring that vision that you have been entrusted with is there waiting for you. You just need to get past some of those waves that are coming down on your head. You just may need to get past some of your stuff that is piled up, that is denying you, that is keeping you shackled to the dock because you're afraid to let it go. Well, I'm telling you to unshackle that, pick up your board and paddle on out. God bless you as you do that. I love you. Hey, let's keep it going as we bring Angel Travis back to our stage.
Let your arms enfold us through the dark of night. Will your angels hold us till we see the light? has vanished and left us behind. And the wind whispering song lullabies will soothe your weary let your arms enfold us through the dark night. Will your angels hold us till we see the sleep? Angels will watch over you. Oh, and soon beautiful dreams will come and you feel Spirit embracing the sun, and soon you'll dream and let love thrill. Let your arms enfold us through the dark of human nights. Oh, let your angels hold us on till we move through the light. Let your arms enfold us. Let your arms enfold us. Let the angels walk us through the light. Oh, let the love become you and pull you through your
This is Angel Travis. My goodness. Wow, perfect for today. Let the angels walk us through the light. That's it. When we choose to paddle on out, to know that we are surrounded by, look, if wiping tears in the house, that just touched our souls for sure. Hey, this is a time of our service where we have the opportunity to share our gift, to share our treasures. And as we give, it comes back to us. It comes back multiplied many times. But you've got to let it go. You've got to put it out there. And so what goes on in our world is that mental equivalent that I was talking about. You know, can't give $10 to be one of those millionaires. You've got to know what it is your arrangement is with Spirit in terms of it's 10%. I mean, that's like, you know, an easy way to keep track. It's better than 7.3. This is what I'm going to give back to God at the beginning of of the income in my life. You put Spirit first, and as you do that, what you'll find is Spirit shows up first in your life. You become the activity that Spirit is having. So as you give, you'll just watch the blessings come forth. And so with that, I'd like to invite our ushers to come join us. I want to say thank you to those who mail in your contributions when you can't be here. It's greatly appreciated. And those that are participate with our auto tithe, that regular systematic support from your world to Seasides to support what's going on is a big help. And also a big shout out to everyone online today. It's like there's a lot of you out there. And Dana Voigt is helping us with the online practitioner day. She is handling the chat. And then some of the people were Claire and David and Sharon and Laura and Daniel and Waleska and Charles and Janelle and Lynn and Tara, and the list goes on. But I just wanted to let everybody know who's home watching, share this message with those who are your friends. Give them the link so they can watch this. And all of us be aware that you can watch this anytime through the course of the week. So do so. Be able to just take it to a deeper place. So with that, I share this prayer of gratitude with the most generous of spiritual communities, for this truly is a blessed moment where the fullness of divine expresses its life through each and every one of us. For the richness of God finds expression as our very experience, and we walk on that grace, and we're buoyed up by the wonderful affluent flow of life itself. We live in the currents of the ever-expanding flow. That affluent flow of Spirit finds expression in our very experience because we are a conduit through which it moves. We let go of just sitting on the side and holding on to what it is we have, but we let it go and we enter into the current and allow ourselves taken out into the wonderful greater expanse of life. So with joy we give that which has blessed our world, and with joy we become the recipient through which it continues to move and expand. So I say thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to have been blessed with that abundance and the ability to be able to share that, and knowing that which has been given goes out and touches and enriches all those it comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this moment of abundance and the ability to share that, and so it is. Amen. Together, let's say this affirmation of abundance, which is, Spirit continues to bless my world. Gratefully I live as the giving expression of Spirit, opening the floodgates of the affluent flow of greater good as my life now. That was Under the Boardwalk, right? Yeah. Hey, those are you guys from Seaside, Under the Boardwalk, keeping with that sea theme. Guess they were playing Ariel's Grotto song a little earlier. But as I stand before this bounty, I can feel the love that is pouring forth through each and every one of us. For each of us becomes truly blessed by this wonderful motion of spirit, the wonderful richness and the wealth and just the sense of security and peace that comes from knowing that true source is inexhaustible. Being that conduit through which the good pours forth out into the world, it is given in love, it is received in love, it is handled in good stewardship, and it's continued to set forth to bring blessings to everyone that comes in contact. Thank you, Father, Mother, God, for this opportunity to share this love and this light. And so it is. Amen. All right. This is Tasha Manzano. Bless you. Wonderful board member here at Seaside. Just loving us. Gosh, a couple decades or more. About 2.5 decades you've been hanging out around here. That's good. Angel, Travis, you are so good. What spirit, what heart, what soul, what feeling. We can feel what you sing. The artists, the musicians I was talking about earlier, that's you giving us an experience of the divine without words. It's just wonderful. Thank you. Whitney, it's just a joy to have you here. You're just beautiful. I just love your spunk and energy and your voice. Thank you for sharing yourself with us today. Whitney Shea. And Kim Jera, thank you. Reverend Kim Jera, congratulations, officially. Woo! That is exciting for sure. Flowers right next to you. I don't see Sharon, but in honor of her dad, Al Pride, third week in a row they've given flowers in memory. So thank you, wonderful Pride family. Thank you today for your sound. Matthew, nice job. Marv, good job with the visuals. And we got a camera crew there. We got Edwin and Steve in the back. And we got people behind all the cameras. It's just exciting to be able to share this with the world. Let them know what a spot that Seaside is, making a difference on this planet. Take a look at the program. There is a lot there. Like today, I'm doing the new member class as soon as I'm done here. So if you've been thinking of joining Seaside, this is the day. Come sit down. I'll answer all your questions, fill you in as to what membership is. We'll be right here in the sanctuary. Next Sunday is New Member Sunday at the second service. We're going to have you stand up. We're going to welcome you in. We're going to sing We Are Family and take you out to lunch to a wonderful Italian restaurant right down the street. So that'll be a lot of fun. Also, next week, I think it's daylight. We're getting rid of daylight savings next week. Fall back, you get an extra hour. So set your clock back, enjoy the hour. Don't set your clock back, and you can help us set up. So either way works for me this time of the year. Yeah, you are more than welcome to join us here. And the kids' movie today is Finding Nemo. So as soon as we're done, children, last week there were like a dozen children and parents sitting in there eating popcorn, watching Finding Nemo. So that's happening. It was a lot of fun last week. Also, big news for next Saturday is we've got the Smart Symposium. And Cal, you want to come up? That is one of the most amazing looking flyers that I've seen. The individuals you are bringing here is truly worthy of the word symposium. And I know it's open for more than just women.
Good morning.
Good morning.
The SMART Symposium is an acronym for Spiritually Motivated Activism for Resilient Transformation. And it's open to anybody who recognizes that we need change in our world. Yeah. And one of the best ways that we can activate change is by nurturing our hope, nurturing our belief that we can be the change. So we're bringing together a group of amazing activist women who are passionate about change. They're totally on purpose, and they want to talk to you about what's possible. It's not about rehashing the challenges that we're all painfully aware of. It's about how do we shift from here? How do we go from here to hope? And that's the only way that we can really activate change, is by believing and knowing that we can. So it's our gift to you. It's sponsored by the Seaside Sisters. There's no charge. It's open to everyone. Come and be part of the collective. Come and be part of the change and join us on Saturday at 1 o'clock. Thank you.
All right. Thanks. You got that? It's about making change on a planet. There is no cost, and it's open to men and women. There's no reason that you shouldn't be here. So, hey, take a look at classes that are coming up. There's some good things that are there. I see Jewel Leonard about collaborating with the body. Aya's got some intuition coming up. So Elizabeth Root has one. It's just take a look at, well, there you go. It's all in there. And just good things are happening. But what I want to do, hey, Dawn, how's it going? How'd the children do today? I was telling them about your movie, Finding Nemo. And they can come back and get some popcorn too, right? Yes, I promised Noah last week that he could speak this week. which is why I'm glad to see you. Hey, Noah, did you guys get your sunglasses? We're all cool, aren't we? Hey, dude, come on, man. What do you think?
So we read a book about Finding Dory.
Nice. Anything else? Do you think they'll find Nemo a little later?
So we needed to look for all the sea animals in the book.
Okay. Good going. That's Noah. You want to talk to? Hey, Miguel, what's up? What's happening, dude?
We read a book about Finding Nemo. We have to find all the animals in the sea, and we have to follow. We have to go the right path from the jellyfish.
I gotta stay away from that. That's it. All right. So, my goodness, this is Roxana helping out with Dawn today. Great job, and once again, we are always open to have. Let's say together our affirmation for our children. We see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. One more time. We see you, we love you, and we support you in your magnificence. All right. So you got your sunglasses. It's because Spirit is so bright, sometimes we need a little help to see. So anyway, with that, I want to invite our religious science practitioners to stand up here with me. It's the last Sunday of the month. And so I'm going to pray, and that light's going to shine bright. So come on up and have a prayer when we're done singing. So any of our religious science practitioners invite you to come be in this moment and feel that light and that life and that joy and that love, for that presence of God moves right here in this moment. It is an infinite expression. It is powerful. It is life itself. It is the affluent flow. It is the waves. It is the current. It is the first breath. It is that first cause. It is that all animating something that heals all things. And it moves in this moment, transforming, uplifting, and raising our field of awareness. So there is this new mental equivalent that opens our receptivity to a greater good. For the blessings of God moves right here. Feel it, sense it, and know that this truly is a blessed moment that is beyond the words, beyond the tongue, but rather is that place that those musicians and those artists are able to join the mystics. That place where one knows and experiences and unifies with that wonderful life force, that abundance of all things. Call it God, call it life, call it joy, wisdom. Doesn't matter. It is indescribable, but it's the truth of being. And as you allow yourself to bask in this wonderful sea of the infinite treasures of the all good, know that right now in this moment, as you begin to shift your field of awareness, have that change in consciousness, you become that receptive place for something new, something greater good to happen in your life and your experience. And so if there's something in your world that you would not classify as good in this moment, if there is a challenge and out of ease or dis-ease or a situation that is less than graceful, I know right now it's the human experience, but it is not the spiritual truth. For the spiritual truth is one of wholeness. It is one of a divine expression. That right now, that wisdom that guides the universe is the same intelligence that moves through your body in this very instant. It moves through each of our world of affairs, just bringing a light and a greater possibility, giving us that courage that is necessary in which we can move forth. Grateful to stand as a radiant example of that light that shines so bright. People say your face shines as if you have been with God, because you have. So that light is bright. And I know right now for each and every one of us, our world unfolds in a way that is just perfect. For Seaside continues to grow. It continues to be lifted by this collective tide of consciousness of individuals coming to know and recognize that spirit at a greater conscious level. And it's in this upliftment of our community, all of us are lifted to that higher place where spirit flows with an ease and a grace, an affluence, a wealth, a prosperity, a sense of security and peace are the natural states around anything that is ever presented to us unlike that. For we no longer affirm excuses of limitation and powerlessness, We affirm the spiritual truth that I am. That God is, I am. The self-expression is Spirit made manifest in that greater way. So grateful to be able to move forward in this moment, knowing that every prayer request that has been brought forth to our chest is now fulfilled, and that the love that fills this community is added to our collective consciousness of our nation at this time, that we have chosen not to buy into fear or hatred, but rather we are uniting with that bright light that is rising to show the greater good that is taking place. That we will continue to paddle out in the midst of the turbulent, questioning times, and knowing that that open will present itself and we will know the way. And so we add the love and the caring and the compassion. We open our hearts. Say thank you, God, for filling that space. Thank you for the words we've shared, that they're the truth manifesting here and now, for the shift that has taken place, for that changes to take form. I let go and allow that light to shine so bright that I'm able to see that next step clearly. I paddle forth in the direction of that heart and that soul, letting go to God, trusting God, and knowing that it is the omnipresent expression of this infinite sea of treasure that awaits my discovery. I let go, I let Spirit have its way, and so it is. Amen.
There was a time in my life I thought I had to do it all for myself. I didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, you've got to let go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life with my arms open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life with my arms open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. I said, with my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Now you Seaside, I can't hear you. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah.
And our affirmation is, I joyously embrace the adventures of my prospering life. Together, I joyously embrace the adventures of my prospering life. Touch your heart and say that again. I joyously embrace the adventures of my prospering life. One more time like you know it. I joyously embrace the adventures of my prospering life. And our song of grace.
Living in
So come on forward. We have some prayer. We're here for you. No cost, feels good. Let these individuals who trained in the art of spiritual prayer speak those words of spiritual truth for whatever's going on in your world. Come on.